Welcome to PHP tutorials, and we have a series of tutorials, so please follow them according to the sequence if you're a beginner in PHP. Otherwise, you can pick whatever tutorials you want based on the subject names. So today we are going to talk about some basics of PHP. We are specifically discussing about the PHP variables. So what we have here is a .php file which has some static HTMLs at the top, and here is our PHP code. So here we have defined a PHP string which is called welcome. Let me reduce this side. And then we are echoing that one. So one thing to remember is that PHP is called, PHP, what it is called in a programming language paradigm, it's a loosely typed language. What that means is that, as you see, where we have defined test equal to welcome, assigned a string, we haven't defined like something sort of like test is equal to string and then assign a value. So that means PHP by implicitly can assign a data type. So what that means is that you can just define test equal to 1 to 3, and that means test would be treated as an integer. In the next line you can also assign it to a variable, assign it to a string. So PHP internally does that transformation or assigning a data type to the variable. In other languages where you have to explicitly define what data type you have the variable before you assigning a value. Since PHP doesn't have it, that's why it is called a loosely typed language. So this is with just echoing a variable. We can say test, or maybe say t1 equal to 1 to 3 echo t1. Let's call it t2 just to simplify it. So here, as you see, we have printed welcome, but somehow the T1 has not been printed. And the reason being is that even if you have defined T1 as a number, but to make it appear, you have to do this one. So let's see if it comes this time. Okay, there you go. So let's try to go back and try to get rid of this again. Let's see if it works. Okay, so it's working fine. So that means you really sometimes I think I took it back what I said. So you really don't have to make it single quote to appear. So you can just define a string, just define a number, and then PHP would implicitly convert it to a data type again, just to even for displaying purpose. So that's about the data types. Now let's talk about some useful functions. So one useful function is called string position. What that does is that so let's say you have a variable called t2 welcome, and you want to see if CO appears there. So if you do CO string pos and you say $t2 and you say CO, so what we are doing is that it's returning the position of CO in T2, which is our welcome. So position 3. What that means is that WEL. So 1, 2, 3. Sorry, 0, 1, 2, and 3. So C appears at third one. So that means the fourth position. So it's returning that. So now if we Now this comes very handy when you are really doing some sort of string searching. So a typical use is something like this. If the C doesn't appear there, if it doesn't exist, it will return false. So this is sort of one of the handy use of this function. What this is doing is that you are saying that if CO doesn't appear, then do this. So let's say if you say so CO, so that means we are just checking for CO, and if this statement is CO doesn't exist, this string post would return false. So if that is not equal to false, that means it is true. That means I just did the opposite. CO does exist, CO does not exist. So other thing to note is that if you see the operations, Boolean operations, so PHP has two operators, this for Boolean and this. So remember, it is 3, it's not 2. So this is only for Boolean operations, and we'll take some of those examples. So the CO does exist. So now if we put it here, CO1, you will get into the other block. So other string functions useful, which are string len, strlen. So if you want to do true, so let's see if this works. CO does not exist, yeah, because we are searching for really CO1. That's why it is saying. CO1 doesn't exist. Clear? So that's about. So we learned about how the Boolean operation works in PHP. We learned about string plus function. So other string functions which are relevant is string len, which is strlen, which basically gives you the length of the string. Then if you are talking about standard operators, so PHP does support standard plus minus for division slash, and then for number it supports. So these are standard ones. So if you print T1, you'll get T1 to 4. C1 to 4, because you have increased T1 by 1. So those are some of the string functions. For other operators, PHP supports and. So let's try some of those. So let's say let's get rid of this part. And let's say don't need this part. So what we are having is, okay, looks like the time is over, but this is the T1 this is the way AND operator works. So we'll continue more such examples from the next video.